Having a life scholarship and being able to afford to go to college made me feel inspired to go.
When I got a life scholarship, it was such a relief.
I knew that I wanted to have an impact. Having a life scholarship through the SC Education Lottery was huge. It gave me the opportunity to make that impact right here at home.
The South Carolina Education Lottery. A better you, a better us, a better South Carolina. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
You're listening to the Plant-Based Diet Podcast, where we talk about all things plant-based. I'm Esther Garfin, the host of this show and founder of Alternative Food Network. Join me and my amazing array of guests who are a mix of healthcare professionals, industry executives, and people with an interesting story to tell about their plant-based journey. Let us help you with your journey, wherever you're at, to learn the what, why, and how to eat plant-based. Hello, friends. I hope you've been keeping well. Today, I'm going to do something a bit different, and I'll tell you why. Rather than an interview with a guest, I'm taking the liberty of sharing with you some important information about inflammation, specifically chronic inflammation. It's such a big and important topic because chronic inflammation can contribute to heart disease, diabetes, autoimmune conditions, and much more. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I produce another podcast series that is hosted by a physician. On that show, which is called Culinary Medicine Recipe, Dr. Sabrina Falke shared such great information about inflammation that I just needed to share it with you, my plant-based diet audience. It's episode 40 of Culinary Medicine Recipe if you want to listen to that full episode. But in the meantime, here are some clips that hopefully get you to start thinking more about this topic.
Chronic inflammation is preventable with proper food choices, sleep, stress reduction, and regular hydration. Now, chronic inflammation compared to acute is a persistent low-grade inflammation that contributes to disease. We don't feel it. We don't feel the pain like we do with a sprain or a burn or the common cold symptoms. So it's happening in the background without us being aware of it. It can be triggered by nutrient-poor diet, specifically pro-inflammatory foods or foods that increase inflammation. The most common ones are things like processed food, like fast food or packaged snacks, refined sugars that we find in sugar-sweetened beverages like sodas, pastries, and candy. Also in trans fats that are not as much used in the US, but they're still used worldwide. Over-processed fats that are used especially in commercially fried foods and processed vegetable oils. Also used in pre-made salad dressings or pastries. Excessive alcohol intake. Red and processed meats. Overconsumption of salt or sodium, which is especially found in packaged foods or restaurant foods, and a lack of whole foods like vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, whole grains, and plant-based proteins, as well as adequate hydration. Also important to go beyond the food. So it's not just food that causes chronic inflammation. It's stress, environmental exposures, which happen naturally, but there's also some that we have control over. So these are things like cigarettes, living in large cities, also environmental pollutants like buses, subways, trains, airplanes, and also lack of sleep. So all of these, the food and these other environmental exposures, can lead to long-term tissue damage and development of disease. So to put the dots together, every single day, our body has natural cell damage that occurs, and that needs to be repaired. So we need to have, number one, the building blocks to be able to repair that damage, and ideally, we're also not adding pieces that are adding additional damage. So the body needs nutrients to repair and replace damaged cells. And if the repair mechanisms are overwhelmed, that's when chronic inflammation occurs.
So what really is happening in our bodies when it comes to inflammation? Dr. Falke explains.
To give you kind of a scary statistic, we all have this natural cell damage on a day-to-day. And in our bodies, in humans, there's about 10,000 DNA damages that occur every day per cell. And this is per the NIH. That's a lot of damage that needs to be repaired. And as a reminder, we have additional cell damage with the triggers as follows. So a nutrient-poor diet. So if we're adding this ultra-processed foods, the lack of whole foods, daily stress, daily environmental exposures, as well as lack of sleep. And so what are some of the chronic conditions that can occur if we have this constant cell damage without the ability to repair fully? These include things like heart disease, so high blood pressure, plaque buildup that can lead to heart attacks. There's also type 2 diabetes, obesity, autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, multiple sclerosis, Alzheimer's disease, which causes inflammation in the brain, which is accelerated by the cell damage and can lead to cognitive decline, cancers, because of that chronic inflammation that contributes to DNA damage and tumor growth, and digestive disorders like Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. So, why do we want to turn to certain foods no matter what? Antioxidants, for example, again, help decrease that cell damage. These are found in fruits, vegetables, nuts, and whole foods. They help neutralize that cell damage and they help prevent that chronic inflammation. So we want to stop that process of chronic inflammation forming. It can also help reverse chronic inflammation that may already be there. I want to emphasize that sometimes when people already have a diagnosis like diabetes, they feel like they've already gone to that space. There's no point in making changes. There always is. It can help reduce the amount of medications one needs, the amount of chronic inflammation, which can lead to even more problems with diabetes. Sometimes we can even reverse diabetes with lifestyle changes, which is absolutely fabulous. So when we're talking about antioxidant-rich foods, we are specifically talking about things like berries, blackberries, blueberries, strawberries. Again, those dark leafy green vegetables. We have cruciferous vegetables like Brussels sprouts, cabbage, broccoli. Dark chocolate, over 60%, has a lot of flavonoids, which are also antioxidants. And then red and orange vegetables like carrots, bell peppers, sweet peppers. The goal of all this is to have foods that help reduce chronic inflammation.
If you're open to eating fish, Dr. Falke also recommends this.
Adding nuts, seeds, and proteins like beans and also fatty fish can really help reduce inflammation.
As you heard, a lot of the foods that we talk about on this show, like fruits, vegetables, nuts, legumes, are suggested to reduce levels of inflammation. So yet another reason to consider a whole food plant-forward diet, which is what we like to talk about on this show. And if you're wondering what you can do with some of these types of foods and are looking for some recipes, please remember to check out our YouTube channel, which you can find by typing Alternative Food Network on YouTube or clicking the link in this episode description. I'll be taking a short hiatus during the summer so that I can replenish the creative juices and bring you more good stuff shortly. I hope you can enjoy a bit of downtime yourself. I hope you found this episode helpful. Please share, rate, leave a review, and follow Plant-Based Diet on your favorite podcast listening platform and on the Alternative Food Network YouTube channel, where you can also find recipe videos. If you're on social media, please follow us on Instagram at Alternative Food Network. We also publish a monthly newsletter that includes plant-based recipes, our latest podcasts, and the occasional giveaway. You can sign up by going on our website at alternativefoodnetwork.com and click the newsletter sign up button. Until next time, thanks for listening. All content provided or opinions expressed in this podcast are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for professional medical advice. Please seek advice from your doctor or other qualified healthcare practitioner.
Having a life scholarship and being able to afford to go to college made me feel inspired to go.
When I got a life scholarship, it was such a relief.
I knew that I wanted to have an impact. Having a life scholarship through the SC Education Lottery was huge. It gave me the opportunity to make that impact right here at home.
The South Carolina Education Lottery. A better you, a better us, a better South Carolina. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No